Good morning and welcome back to Coffee with a Kick. We got a lot to cover today. We've got the midweek EPL action. Yes, there was some midweek and actually quite some entertaining EPL action. Of course, the Champions League occurred this midweek with some stunning results and very good games. And then we'll, of course, get into our preview of this weekend's action for the EPL, for the Premier League, with our spate of matches across Saturday and Sunday. But before we get started, why don't you go ahead, pause the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the little dingle bell, and then hop over to X and take a quick follow over there. Why? Because I'm asking very kindly, and only once this episode.
Do not make us find you.
Yes, do not make us search you out, okay? It will not end well for you. Anyways, we will go ahead and move directly into the Premier League action that occurred on Tuesday, where we both had a perfect pick. 2-1, Burnley over Luton Town. Now, that for being bad teams, that was a very exciting match. A very good match, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I was predicting Burnley to handle possession, but Luton played rather well. And that was probably their best match.
Really? I mean, they are disappointed to come out of there with, I mean, obviously they're disappointed to come out of the points, but I feel like they're unlucky to come out of there with no points because I agree. It was probably the best they've looked all season. Now, is that them playing Burnley so they can actually hold possession and stuff? I mean, if you want to nitpick, sure, maybe this was a good match because they're equally matched teams. Now, when they play other teams in the Premier League, it may start to look a little bit unequitable as far as the talent spread goes. Yeah. But as far as this particular instance, it was an enjoyable match. I thought that, and Burnley hopefully can build some momentum off of this. I think Luton, it doesn't get easier. It's not going to get until they play Sheffield United again. I believe they've already played them once. It's not going to get any easier than this.
Yeah, Bournemouth and Sheffield. If you can get those two games, you got a shot.
There you go. But yeah, I thought that was a good match. Good win for Vincent Kompany. Haha! Didn't even have to think about it this time. Didn't even have to think about it. No, don't plant his name in my head. I've got it figured out now. But we'll go ahead and move over at this point to our Tuesday matches for the Champions League, starting off with Union Berlin and Braga, and rbsalzburg and Real Sociedad. I said their name in a different, strange accent this time. We both got the Union Berlin-Braga one wrong. I said that Union Berlin would win. You said that it would be a draw, nearly a draw. Again, a very exciting match for Union Berlin and Braga. And again, it ends late. It ends very late for that one with the Braga winning goal coming. Oh, where did it go?
90 plus 4.
90 plus 4.
Castro.
Yeah, it was really disappointing because I was correct. That place was rocking the whole match. That stadium was insane atmosphere. Man, I feel bad for Union Berlin. They played well, but Braga pulls it out there. They were the spoilers this time. Both teams got spoiled in the previous match. This one, Braga was the spoilers directly.
Yeah, this one could have gone either way. Honestly, the Sociedad 2-0 victory was a shock one to me.
Yeah, you had Salzburg winning that one. I actually did have Sociedad winning 2-1. So not a perfect pick, but still a correct pick.
Yeah, it was I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the match, but it was an okay game. Sociedad seemed to control most of the possession, most of the shots.
Yeah, and it's kind of continuing the trend of our Premier League action. Really, only had to watch the first half. Sociedad slowed down the match in the second, and tidied away their 3 points at Salzburg. We will move on from that to the other slate of matches that occurred at 3 o'clock. We'll go ahead and finish out Group C with Napoli and Real Madrid. Napoli and Real Madrid. Why, man, my screen keeps jumping around. Yeah, another very exciting match. This one here, a 3-2 victory for Real Madrid. I had that correct as far as the general pick. I had Real Madrid winning 4-1, but it ended up being 3-2. Obviously, boy, Jude Bellingham. Wow. That's all I could say. He looked fantastic in the first half. Second half, he kind of disappeared a little bit. But in the first half, Jude Bellingham was everywhere and looks fantastic as a young player. I can see why City was interested in getting him in the recent window, but didn't pull it out. Him and Vinicius Jr. do play very well up top.
I pulled for him. Maybe we don't lose to Wolves if we have Jude Bellingham in there instead of Rodri.
Well, you didn't have Rodri because he was on a red card.
Yeah, okay. Well, we didn't even have anyone in it. We had Calvin Phillips trying to play in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Jude Bellingham he's good. I think he has like 6 goals and like 8 assists from that number 8 role that he's playing. And it's like the best that role has done for Real Madrid in a long time. So...
yeah, playing a fantastic one. Napoli did their part. I mean, they scored first, then Real Madrid kind of counter punches, come back with 2 goals in quick succession, and then Zielinski gets a penalty shout there. Well, scores the penalty for Napoli in the 54th, and it took an own goal there in the 70th from Napoli to put Real Madrid over the top. Because really, it could have gone either way. That second half was pretty well. It was pretty evenly matched for the most part. And unlucky for Napoli to not get the home point at the very least. Then we will finish up our Group D action with Inter and Benfica. You got this one exactly right. With a victory for Inter. 1-0 with Benfica.
Yeah, they didn't score as early as I thought they were going to, but I said they were going to score and they were just going to hold the ball. And that's pretty much what happened.
Listen, if you got the points in hand, you want to keep them in hand. Close the fist. Finish it out. And they did so. And we will take a look at the group standings here in just a moment. Well, no, not this time. We'll do it after the next one because that'll be the first set of 3 matches. But yeah, that one went how you would have expected. And then for Group A, Man U and Galatasaray. Again, you got this one correct. The slide for Man U continues, guys. I saw a lot of disgruntled fans for Man U coming out of this one. Galatasaray taking the full 3 points with a 3-2 victory over Manchester United.
I told you the Turkish giants were going to come in there and stomp them out.
I should have listened.
David De Gea is still a free agent. Man, you just need to say, hey, we were wrong. We'll pay you your money. Because Onana that they brought in continues to show he is not up to the stuff when it comes to being a goalkeeper at this high of a level. He was at Inter, which was fine. But when he was at Inter, it seemed like his defense really helped him out. And Man U, he doesn't have that good of a defense. So we're starting to see a lot of errors. I mean, though I read something that was like the top 10 VAR mistakes, and he was number 1 with his rush of the Wolves guy. How he didn't give the red card.
Didn't give the red. Well, that was before last weekend. I'm assuming that was written because the VAR.
But before the audio came out.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched the video and audio breakdown from the VAR officials from this past weekend for Liverpool and who are they playing? They're playing Tottenham, right? Yeah, Liverpool and Tottenham, guys. Like, we thought it was bad. It's worse than you think. Because they were like, yeah, we got this one right. And like, there was that one assistant VAR guy like, hey, whoa. Hey, wait. Call on the field was offsides. That was not correct. he's like,
They're complete. It's good.
And they're like, no, it's not complete. No, he sort of scored. And whew, like I said, if you haven't watched it yet, I'd take it. It's only like 2 minutes long, and there's a reason that they've made some adjustments to how the VAR line is handled. They're apparently they speak in complete sentences now, and are much more detailed in what they're checking. Which, you would have hoped they'd done previously, but people get complacent. And then for the other half of the Group A action, Copenhagen gave Bayern just about all they could handle.
Yeah, this one, I mean, Bayern got done in the end, obviously. But yeah, I mean, Copenhagen 55th minute goal, they played pretty well. Like, Bayern did not dominate the game like I thought they would.
No, I mean, they were trailing for 2/3 of the game. Well, no, they weren't trailing for 2/3 of the game. They're trailing 2/3 of the way into the game. So, that's speaks volumes about Copenhagen maybe having a little bit of edge at the homestead. But yeah, it's Bayern escaping with their 3 points is definitely big for them. I'm sure that Copenhagen is disappointed, but you guys were playing Bayern. You're happy that you just didn't get demolished. And then I'll save one of the big upsets for the week for our last one of the first day. Well, actually, both the ones that we have left are somewhat surprising. Oh, and we both got that right because we both had Bayern correct. PSV and Sevilla. PSV and Sevilla ended in a 2-2 draw, which you had as a perfect pick. You said 2-2 directly. Again, this one, a lot of action there in the last couple minutes. Very, very crazy happenings So this one, you didn't even have to watch a whole half. You just had to start at the 60th minute and watch the last half hour. That's all you needed. Because 68th minute, Sevilla goes up. Then we go 20 full minutes without almost 20 full minutes before De Jong gets a penalty victory. A minute later, when I was watching this, they were still showing like the highlights from the penalty and the foul, and all of a sudden Sevilla scores. You had to watch replays of that because you couldn't even catch it in real time. And then PSV 90+5 pulls back the point, which it could be very important going forward. You always want to keep your home points available, but it was a exciting last 30 minutes of a match.
Yeah, PSV was unlucky to win this one. They definitely dominated possession, passes. They looked like the better side. I still think Sevilla is going to end up being the third. PSV, to me, they showed me that they can actually potentially get out of the group. I picked them to get out, so hopefully they keep up the trend.
Keep up the good work. And then for the real shocker, Lens taking down Arsenal 2-1. Got to tell you, and neither of us had that happening.
Yeah, Arsenal, I mean, I think they're showing their true colors in this game.
Oh,
they've had a lot of close matches where I thought they should have lost points, and they haven't. I think they've had 3 or 4 matches where they've won it in the 90+ minute range. And so I think this was a due match for Arsenal. They've been kind of teetering. I think Wolves and Man City was a due match for Man City. We'd kept a couple games close, not getting serious.
Haven't played up to your standard in the past couple matches.
They haven't played up to the Wolves standard. Wolves the real. Having to play at Wolves standard was a real kick in the teeth. But Lens, I mean, they tie it in the 25th, and then 69th, they get a goal, and they kind of just hold on.
Nice.
It was an onslaught there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, Arsenal definitely didn't expect to be in that position, and when you don't press with as much vigor as Arsenal sometimes does, it's hard to turn it on there, especially when it's so late in the match already. You kind of get into a rhythm, and then having to go up tempo. Sometimes the big teams can't make that change for whatever reason. But yeah, that wraps up the Tuesday action. We will go over now to our second half from Wednesday. That's the day that these matches occurred. And we'll go ahead and start. Let me do it a little bit different to help myself in the edit later on. We're just going to start with Group E with Atletico and Feyenoord, with starting off in one of the early matches, and then Celtic and Lazio later on in the afternoon. Atletico and Feyenoord, we both got correct. We both said that Atletico would win over Feyenoord, and indeed they did. Although it was much more exciting than we had anticipated. We both thought it would be a 2-0 victory, but it ended up being a 3-2 victory. Most of the action occurred in the first half, and then Atletico, similar to how you expected the intermatch to go. Once Atletico got their third goal there in the 47th minute, they just kind of strangled the match to death. They held the ball. Very good possession. Feyenoord had some shots, though. I mean, they were pressing hard in the second half, but they couldn't break through. Couldn't break through Atletico's defense.
Yeah, the Dutch teams came to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Feyenoord, again, I think a team unlucky not to get a point. I thought they played pretty well. Atletico kind of stole one there at the beginning, and it seemed like they were parking the bus there for 15, 20 minutes. I would not watch the second half. Maybe watch the Morata goal and then just skip to the whistle being blown, because there's not a lot happened after that.
Not a lot. Not a lot at all. And then for the Celtic and Lazio, Celtic looked like they were going to do it for a little while. But then they were Celtic, and they ended up losing 2-1 to Lazio, which is, as you called. You said that Lazio would win. You said 3-0, but that wasn't quite the case. But it was Celtic almost got the point. Another one left super late, 90 plus 5. Pedro Rodriguez for Lazio brings home the full 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, Celtic, I really think after watching it, they looked like how I thought Lazio was going to look. Mm-hmm. Like, they looked like the better team. They looked like they should have won 3-0. Lazio just converted a couple. I mean, they only got 3 shots on target and converted 2 of them. So if you're getting that percentage, you're probably going to win a game or get some points. So Celtic unlucky, but they played well.
Yeah, if only playing well counted for any points. I'm disappointed in Celtic. I picked them to go through. We both picked them to go through. And not looking great at the moment for those odds. We will move down to the Group F teams of the Group of Death with Borussia Dortmund versus AC Milan and Newcastle and PSG. I got the Dortmund one correct. I said it would be a 3-3 draw. Hey, it was much more boring than that. It was 0-0 draw. Not the scoreline that I expected, obviously. Normally Dortmund and scores points. It basically is what scores goals, I mean. They got a point, but it's not that there were a dearth of chances. It was just that none of them were that quality chances, it turns out.
Yeah, this felt like one of those group stage matches where both teams are just playing for the weekend. Yeah. It didn't seem like either of them were really like, hey, we got to get 3 points. They seem to be pretty okay with the draw.
Yeah, being in Group F, you'll take the point and try to get them elsewhere. I mean, I don't know where, if you don't pursue the point in this match, though, I don't know where you're going to try. I mean, I guess I would think that Newcastle would be where they're trying to get their points. But going down to that match, apparently Newcastle's figured it out. They beat PSG 4-1. I mean, it was not close.
Like I said, when Dan Burns scores, Newcastle is going to win. Dan Burns, I mean, this match, it was a good one all the way through. And PSG handled the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, this says 74% possession. I thought it was even more than that. Like, Newcastle, outside of their goals, it felt like they never had the ball. But, yeah, good match for Newcastle, making the Premier League look – they're making up for Arsenal. Making the Premier League look pretty good.
Making up for how they looked at the start of the season. Maybe they will actually make their way up to the top of the table. But we will see about that here in just a moment. Okay, now down to the Group G. Group G with Man City and RB Leipzig, and then Sveretsvedja and Young Boys. We both got the Man City one correct, only just. We both said that Man City would win. They left it late. left it. Well, they left it late, 84th minute with the Alvarez. Really nice goal. I mean, was it a deflection? Sure. But it still was a very nice goal for Alvarez there. And then Doku iced the match and then 90+2. I mean, Leipzig, they weren't doing anything anyways. They didn't have a lot of great chances. Really, the best chance they had is the one that they scored. They had a really nice breakaway, a really nice counterattack, and then Openda muscled his way through. I mean, City was trying to foul him, essentially, and pull him back. But props to him, muscled through and got himself a goal. Now, should Ederson have done a little bit better? I mean, probably. It was not that great of a shot, but if he beats you, he beats you, you know?
Yeah, it pained me because it felt like our defenders weren't even trying to defend. They were like, if we could foul him, we got him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just protect the goal side, get in front of him. It didn't seem like he was that much quicker than our defender. So I felt like it was poor defending, and we just came out of the half sluggish.
Yeah.
And it felt like it took a while to rev back up into the game. Like, felt like 65th, 70th minute, we started like really piling the pressure on. But man, yeah, this another game where we left it late. I don't like that.
No, it's one of those things where like, okay, I'm glad you guys toughed it out. I'm glad that the team got it together, but I'd rather not be in that situation, you know? We're good enough to not be in that situation. Erling Haaland continues to not have that first touch that he had last season. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's picked up a ding somewhere. I don't know if it's just missing De Bruyne service. You know, you can't do anything about that. He's injured. You gotta adjust to the guys that are playing against you. But even then, he had that one really nice little deke move there at the top of the box, and it was like the 60th minute or so, and just scuffed the shot. It was a lame shot that normally he would rip. So I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not playing up to the standard that he set for himself last year. Granted, that's a very high standard, but still disappointing, especially when you take him anytime goal scorer. Very disappointing.
I'll take the 3 points away. The thing I don't like about leaving matches late is because our squad is so thin right now, it causes our starters to play longer, which isn't the worst thing to keep up their fitness, but you also don't want them straining near the end. Mm-hmm. So that's the only concerning part of leaving a ton of games late. Yeah,
Bernardo in his first match back playing like 87 minutes. Not exactly ideal, I don't think, as far as unless you're not planning to play him in the weekend, but I'm pretty sure you're going to try to put your best squad out for the weekend, considering who you're playing. But we'll get to that once again in a moment. And then for Svernesvedja and Young Boys, I got this perfect pick, 2-2. I did not watch this match. It was Svernesvedja versus Young Boys. Okay, guys. I don't think either of these teams are moving on. I'm sure they're both happy to get a point, just so that they can say that they have a point. But I have nothing to say about
Hang it on the wall. We got a point in the Champions League. Hang it on the wall.
So we'll just move on to Group H with Antwerp and Shakhtar Donetsk. We both got this one right with Shakhtar Donetsk, those Ukrainians pulling through for us. They took the victory 3-2 over Antwerp. But the early matches were very exciting. With Shakhtar coming through there in the last 20 minutes and getting 2 goals in quick succession to go up by 2, or go up. They were down by 1. They're now up by 1, and they win. Good job, Shakhtar.
Yeah, this one, it was closer than I expected, I'll be honest, but I get it. Yes, Shakhtar's in a hostile environment over there in Belgium, and, they're used to hostile environments. So they went in there, and they won that war, too. They're heading home. They're ready for next round.
Yep, I don't know who they have next. I don't have that screen in front of me. Wait, I can figure this out. Shakhtar, they have City. No, they don't. They have Barcelona next, right? I believe that's correct.
Oh, yeah, they'll slap them. They'll beat them.
Barcelona next. Speaking of Barcelona, they managed to beat FC Porto 1-0 on their away side. So good for them. It was a they had a red card, and it was the 45+1. So you only had to watch like a very small amount of this match in order to get the gist of it.
Yeah, the red card, just reckless. Gavi lost his cool a little bit, but I think they'll miss him in the next match if they're playing Shakhtar. I mean, he's kind of their field general. He's kind of their quarterback there in the middle, so they'll miss him.
Absolutely. And that wraps up the week that was in the Champions League. In the end, we're now tied as far as Champions League picks. I was 8-8 this week. You were 9-7. However, you did have overall you had 2 perfect picks during the Champions League. I had 1, and we both got the Luton and Burnley one exactly right. So in total, 2 perfect picks and 3 perfect picks. 50% hit rate's pretty good.
That's a good week.
I'll take it. Now on to the matter at hand, which is our Premier League action coming up here on Saturday. I don't know why I'm turning into Ronald Reagan. Starting off with the early match on Saturday, Luton Town hosting the Spurs. How bad will it be? I've got it 2-0. I think Spurs take care of business at Kenilworth Road.
We got Tottenham.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham. Yeah, I think it'll be 4-1. I think Luton gets a shock early goal.
Ooh.
And Tottenham slowly but surely annihilates them as the match goes on.
Yep.
I'm going 4-1. I think Luton will be riding high, even though they lost. I think they'll be feeling pretty good. They'll want to show their home fans that they can, in fact, put up a fight against big clubs. But, yeah, 4-1. I don't think it's going to go well.
Yeah, I think Madison and Son will take care of business eventually.
Sounds like a law firm, but all right.
What?
Madison and Son.
Yeah. Yes, I hear what you said now. Yeah. I don't. It'll be a night. I think it'll be somewhat entertaining because it'll be a lot of Spurs action, a lot of Spurs driving action. But I will not be up for it. I will tell you that much. Might catch it on the replay. Then we'll move to the 10 a.m. matches. Burnley and Chelsea. Guys, if Chelsea can't beat Burnley, okay, it's at Turf Moor. I'm saying there's a chance here. I've got a draw. 1-1 Burnley and Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Burnley win.
Oh, I knew you were going to take.
I think Burnley's they're riding high, and I think they know Chelsea is young and psychologically unwell, and they're going to expose the mentality over there at Stamford Bridge. So, yeah, Turf Moor playing Chelsea is not great. I think they'll pull it out.
Turf Moor is probably going to be rocking. They're coming off their first win of the season, so let's see if they can take down those Chelsea boys. And then for one that I'm not excited for, Everton and Bournemouth. I don't know. I just threw down 0-0 because I don't think either of these teams are very good. Speaking of very good, not very good, we'll get to the next match in a second. But at Goodison Park in Liverpool, Everton and Bournemouth. What do you got?
Yeah, I have 2-2 draw. I think they both get a couple of goals, but ultimately not a fun match to watch.
There's definitely better options at this time slot. Then the other match that I'm not super thrilled about, Fulham and Sheffield United. I have Fulham taking the 1-0 victory because Fulham has Americans on it. That's why. Anthony Robinson out there on the left wing.
And Tim Ream.
Tim Ream, they stole it back then. Defense Tim Ream, who made a terrible bungle in the last match.
Every 3 matches, he makes a terrible bungle. I don't know how he still has a job.
Is his arm still broken? Is he still in the cast? I can't remember.
It might as well be.
Anyway, what do you got for this one?
I have a shock 2-1 victory for Sheffield United.
Listen, they need it to stay in any sort of contention.
Yeah, I think Fulham will come out not expecting Sheffield United, but the Blades. They're going to bring the Blades.
Oh, are they called the Blades?
They are called the Blades.
They are. Wow, I did not know that. Makes sense. I'm sure that's. Never mind. And then we'll see this one. Manchester United hosting Brentford. Do they go 0 for 2 at Old Trafford in the last 2 matches? That's the question. I say yes. 3-2. Brentford over United.
I have 3-1 Brentford over United.
Wow. We do not
I think Brentford
believe.
starts out hot and they just control most of the match.
Yeah, it's like one of those where they go up 2-0 and then coast, and then United gets something in like the 56th minute. You're like, oh, maybe there's a chance. And then Brentford scores in like 65. And they're like, oh, no. It's a bummer.
I think Brentford's probably... Man U feels like a club that is on the brink of disaster. And like they're on the brink of like maybe falling into the Chelsea realm. Boy. And Brentford feels like we're here, we're fine, we know who we are.
They're feisty. They're feisty.
Yeah, feisty a little bit.
They've had some bad luck. I mean, losing 3-1 to Everton is not a good look. But they've had other respectable results. I think that Man U though, they better pull this one out. I mean, I know I'm picking against them, but just for the sake of a lot of people's sanity, I hope they at least look good at some point during the match. And then for the 12:30, we got I don't know what that's about. Crystal Palace hosting Nottingham Forest at Selhurst Park in London. I got 2-2. I feel like it. I feel good about it. Feeling frisky. What? I don't know about that.
Feeling frisky.
But it's a mid-table clash. Both the sides. I mean, Crystal Palace just beat United, but Nottingham Forest is kind of coasting their way through this since they. I mean, looking back, the victory over Chelsea is not very impressive. But they only lost 2-0 to City, so that's not bad.
Yeah, I have a 1-1 draw. I don't think it'll be a very fun match. I think both of these teams want to try to have possession, but they play better when they don't, and they counterattack. And this won't be a game where it'll be a game where like, no, you have the ball because we don't want it because we play better on the counter. So right. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a good game. I'm going 1-1, maybe a penalty in there.
We will see. And then that takes us to Sunday. Brighton and Liverpool. This one could be a fun one. I've got it as a 2-2 draw, in fact, for Brighton at Amex, which actually doesn't mean much because Brighton is not. They've lost a couple times at home. Yes, yeah, because they or at least once at home. My screen's not functioning correctly, but anyways, 2-2 is what I've got it as.
Yeah, I'm going 3-3. I think there's fireworks in this one. I think VAR does call correct calls in this one. And yeah, I think Brighton gets up a little early and then they give up the lead and they hang on. I don't think it'll be the other way around. It seems like when Brighton goes down, they're not really sure what to do. Yeah. So I think to be a draw, they're going to have to go ahead.
That's a fair point. Yeah. Brighton is definitely prone to when it rains, it pours sort of syndrome. Like if they get scored on early, look at the Aston Villa game, look at the West Ham game. Even when they're home, it doesn't seem to mitigate anything. Oh wait, oh no, I've done this wrong. What are we doing? It has to be some sort of 3-1, 6-1. It's Brighton. What are we doing? Oh, we're both gonna regret that in the end.
It's got a 3 in there. It's got a 3 in there.
I'm gonna leave it as 2-2. I'm gonna leave it as. I was almost moved it to 1-1, but I'm like, I'll leave it as 2-2. I think this would be Brighton's first draw of the season, though, because they've either won or lost. Let me see. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Not gonna check it. Not gonna use the time. West Ham United hosting Newcastle. It'll be a test there in London Stadium, whether or not Newcastle has truly figured it out. What do you think? Do you think they figured it out, Newcastle?
Not entirely. I think this is a 2-2 draw. I think West Ham is good enough at home to get a draw. I think Newcastle is being very clinical as of late, but I'm not sure what they're going to do when they're not clinical. Because I think, including the 8-0 victory, in their last 3 wins, they've hit 50% or more converting their shots on target, which is a pretty rad shots on target conversion rate. So I don't think that keeps up. I think they're going to start to see that tick down, and they're going to have to figure out a different way.
I'm going to regret it, but I've got Newcastle rolling. I've got them rolling 3-1. Newcastle United. Keep the train rolling. I believe again. I believe again in Newcastle United, and I can't wait for them to let me down because, like I said, if you've learned one thing, it's you can't even trust that they're untrustworthy this year. Now we move to Molineux. My Wolves versus, let me say it for real, because I don't know if I've ever, when we're doing this, Wolverhampton versus Aston Villa. I always just say my Wolves. But Wolverhampton versus Aston Villa, I have this one. I think we come down to earth a little bit in this one. I think we get a little bit of a spank in here at 4-1 Aston Villa.
Yeah, I'm going 1-1 draw.
Wow.
I think Villa has shown that they can obviously win big, but whenever they've won a match, the next match they just have not shown up. They haven't brought the same mentality. Mm-hmm. I think Wolves can get a goal early and kind of hold on to the match for a little bit. Aston Villa gets a goal, and it kind of just stalemates in the end.
Hey, I'll take the point, dude. I'll take the point. And then the big match of the weekend at Emirates Stadium in good old London town. Arsenal hosts Manchester City.
Yeah, this one it seemed like Bukayo Osaka got hurt midweek, so it's looking like he won't be available for this one. I don't think he makes that much of a difference against City, but he makes that much a difference for Arsenal. Mm-hmm. So not having him in the match, I think that'll kind of play with Arsenal's mentality a little bit because they're used to their young gun being in there. I think it's still going to be a little brother is playing big brother moment, where even if Arsenal looks like they're a better team, they're still not going to break that psychological barrier. I think this will be I'm going to go 4-0 victory for City.
Whoa.
I'm thinking Holland gets a couple. We start converting. We tend to play a lot better in these bigger games over the last 6 months than we have against the smaller clubs.
against my Wolves? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that...
I'm not name dropping.
I'll do it. Yeah, you guys played down to us. I've got this one as a 2-1 Arsenal victory. You lost to my Wolves last week, all right? You barely scraped out a victory. I know it's 3-1, but like it was not a flawless victory in the midweek over RB Leipzig, right? Yes. No. Yes. RB Leipzig. I couldn't remember which RB team it was. Leipzig and Salzburg. That's the other one. Boy, I won't say I promise I know what I'm talking about because sometimes I don't. Like if it's that match, what was it? Yeah, Young Boys and Svirnitsvedja. No idea. It happened, but I think that Arsenal takes the 3 points. Man City's kind of in that mode where they kind of they end up taking off a few weeks essentially, and they'll go into the international break, try to figure some things out mentally because they have the talent. It's not like they can't do that. They just have to be linking up properly. And usually you guys go down a couple points in going into the winter season, and then you have to come back from winter break and kind of get yourselves back in gear. And usually you do it with great aplomb. Look at last season. You guys came back from that winter break, and it was quite a clinic after that. But I feel like this is one of those where you guys take a step back, move down the table a little bit, and have to rally the troops later on in the season. That's what I think will happen. We'll see. It could also be that Erling Haaland is due for a good game and he gets a hat trick in the first 20 minutes, Could very well happen that way. But that is only for time to tell. That was almost the correct saying.
It was close. We'll give it to you.
It was close. Yeah. It was close. But yes, that is what we've got on the slate for this weekend. So, you got anything else you want to hit before we go?
To all the Arsenal fans out there that definitely don't watch this podcast, this weekend is going to be tough for you. It will be. Thankfully, I'm a therapist, so if you need to talk to someone afterwards, don't pick me because I'll rub it in your face. But find a therapist near you because you'll need it.
Jeez. All right. And Man U, we know you've already booked them up for probably the next week, so...
Yeah, Arsenal will be on a waiting list because all the Man U fans are already in there.
Already in there. So in the meantime, why don't you go ahead and grab some coffee, watch some soccer, and in honor of Erling Haaland, he's home, right?
He is.
Okay. In honor of Erling Haaland, we'll see you